Hi there, this is Sheena Rowlands and today I'm sharing with you my latest JustNick cut file layout. This is for the 12 days of giveaways, so if you're watching this during the first 12 days of December 2021, these cut files are available one each day. So this is the Winter Florals 4 that I'm playing with today, and I've cut the outline of the flowers in the 3 sizes that are in the cut file, and I've cut them out of reds and dark pinks cardstock. So I'm just drawing around them on some gessoed cardstock, and as you can see from the left there, I'm going to be painting them. So what I'm going to do is I'm using a clean brush, I'm just going within the pencil lines and just adding water so that when I add the paint it seems to spread. So I don't want them to be too neat and tidy really, and I want the colours to blend together to look a little bit more like petals. So in my mind, I want them to look a little bit like poinsettias because that's the photograph that I want to use with this cut file. So I'm just using the pinks and reds colours that are in this Japanese paint set and adding a little bit more water to keep all the paint loose and to keep it moving. So that's just a dry tissue that I've got. I just keep dabbing some off so that I can actually get some of the cardstock to show underneath. So very, very therapeutic this is. You can't go wrong, and it makes a really nice effect on the cardstock. So yes, I do this just for 3 on camera, but I do it for a few more afterwards. But obviously you can get the technique just from the 3 that I'm showing you here. So once they're dry, I cut them out. Now they're all matched up in pairs. I've kept them like that from the beginning. And I'm just going around the edges with some distress ink or some distress inks in a dark red just to hide the white of the cardstock from when I've cut them. And I've just got them all in the pairs. So there's the photograph that I actually want to scrap. And I'm using some Christmas papers from the Hip Kit Club. I think it could be 2019, I'm not totally sure. It's Make-A-Wish and Merry Everything, I believe. So I love the spotty as the background. I think it brings in lots of the colours from the petals that I've made for the flowers. So I've just torn a strip of the pale pink, and there's just a strip of green down that one side to tie in the green. So you may notice on the left there were some like fronds in the cut file, and I've cut them all in a nice dark green that goes with the background paper. So I'm aiming to put the cut file over the top of the painted flower, but I'm aiming to have it slightly off centre so that you can see a little bit of like daylight between them, and in a couple of places I'm aiming to actually stack the flowers on top of each other just to give some depth like in the real flower itself. So I'm just going to go through some of the embellishments I have from these ranges and just see if there's any bits and pieces I like the look of that I'd like to possibly tuck in around this photograph. I'm also thinking what I'd like to use for the title as well. Obviously something Christmassy, so there's a story that goes behind this photograph. So every year my parents buy me a poinsettia, every year without fail, usually around the beginning of December, and for me that's when the start of Christmas happens. Now I'm not the most green-fingered person, or green-thumbed if you're watching this in the States, but I have actually managed to keep one of these alive until the following May. And now that's pretty much my record. So anyway, going back to the layout, I've stuck the paper down and I've stitched it down the right-hand side of the green strip, just off camera. And now I'm actually really thinking about how I want the flowers and how I want the title to go. So I now want the title to say Our Christmas Tradition. So that is what I'm planning on doing. So I'm just going to layer some of these flowers up. I'm using a wet glue, and then I'm going to use some 3D foam on the back just to layer them over the edge of the photograph. I do like the way the cut file is slightly off centre with the background. I think when you see the close-ups at the end, it gives a really good look, because cut files can sometimes look a little bit flat, can't they? So by using this method and using some foam, it's really lifting them for this layout. So I have made more flowers than I need at this stage, but I didn't mind. I quite like the process. They weren't hard to do. And I'm going to cut up some of the fronds and pop them in around the flowers that I've got into place. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to those shortly. I'm quite liking the way this is going. I think this cut file could look completely different in a different colour. I think if it was cut in white and even some pastel shades could look beautiful, even to make a wreath or something with. So I do think this is a cut file that I'll definitely be using again in the future. So after the 12 days of giveaways is over, this cut file will still be available in the JustNick store, but obviously to purchase. So this goes live on the 12th of December 2021, and that's the date for this cut file, the one and only date. So I'm just putting some centres into these flowers. They're from the Shenanigans shop. Just a little business that I've started on the side. They're 3D printed black stars. So I've done one for the centre there, and it wasn't what I'd initially planned, but actually I felt that they needed a strong centre for the flowers to match up with the photograph. And on the one that you can see, I've used some 3D paint, Nouveau drops in fact. And later on I'll do some more and I'll show you it happening. I do apologise, I keep seeing my hair appear in this video. I don't know why, I just keep leaning in to have a good look. You probably can't tell from this, but I'm actually standing. I'm a scrapper that likes to stand. I find that it actually, I use more of my stash when I'm standing. I know that sounds random, sorry, greying parting's just what you need. But when I'm standing, I actually move around a bit more. I take things off the shelves behind me. I seem to root through my stuff a little bit more. If I'm sitting down, for some reason, I don't want to get back up again. So I've got the, where you can see this layout now is actually like a breakfast bar height. I do have a bar stool, so I can actually perch if I want to. But generally, you'll find me standing up scrapping. So when I do go to a retreat or a crop, find it quite difficult because actually I'm seeing the layout from a completely different perspective when I'm sitting down, and I quite often have to stand up, take a photograph of it so I can review what I'm making, so I can see it the way I would normally view it. So I'm just tucking in, apologies, some acetate fronds. These are from one of the Hip Kit Christmas kits, and they just add that little bit of black just to go with the centre that I'm going to do. So this is the Nouveau drops, as I said, it's in a gold, and I'm just adding a drop to each point of the star and one in the centre, and they will make the centres of the flowers when they're dry. Obviously Nouveau drops actually takes, I think, a good 24 hours, so I will make sure that I don't put anything on top of this layout until they are fully dry. So off camera I print some journaling on strips and I add that below my title. I tucked in another flower at the bottom just to add to it. So here's the full image and the close-ups. Can you see the way those cut files are slightly off centre? I'm really pleased with how this has gone. Do check out JustNick Studio and be sure to have a good look at all their cut files. If you liked what you see, please subscribe to my channel and I'll hopefully see you again here soon. Bye for now.